Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So back on my winter piece, it feels like the piece that keeps getting bumped due to the Roxy Creations Journal of Stitchery project. It just seems to be, I've got so much work to do in that this one, next Friday. So I'll have to be careful because spring will be here before we know it. Therefore the winter piece needs to be finished by the start of spring. So today I'm going to bring you up to speed on what I've done. I've finished stitching this flower and I've put my running stitch right through the back. So all of that is completed. I started working on this big flower and I did some weaving through here just to start giving that a bit of a centre. So I don't know, what will we do today? I think I might do these flowers. I sort of feel like I need to get this top bit done. Then I can put in place my little bird nest and I'm finished up here and then come back to down this bottom section. But I probably should leave that till the very end because it's only going to snag, the threads as I move. So just be calm, girl. Be patient. Be patient. Okay, let's get started. So for those who've just joined me, it's part of the series where I've been doing a beautiful piece of fabric, thread painted, stitching into it to invoke the season. So we've got autumn, we've got summer, and they're all connected like a calendar, and I can just add each piece to it as the season comes along. So it's like my seasonal calendar, if you will, and that's spring. So the last one, which is the one that started the whole process, was winter. I just loved this fabric, and that's what gave me the idea to do the project. I'm thinking I'm going to maybe stitch in here. Let's have a look. I'm not adverse to changing the colours too of the flowers. I'm thinking I might bring a little bit of this in. It's probably not the correct colour, but if it pops up somewhere else, it won't be a bad thing. So I just need a needle that will take a thicker thread. These are all pearl cotton, so a chenille needle with a nice big eye would be my go-to. What have I done? I jiggered the knot up already. Yeah, I've got a knot right there. Seriously, that's a good start. Let's get some little snippy scissors. So I've had to shorten my thread because I got the knot halfway down that piece. Oh well, let's just use this bit. Now I'm thinking I might stitch into, there's three colours there I can see straight up, a pale, a darker, and then into some browns. So I'm thinking we'll go the darker section in this, just long and short. So I'm just going to, I guess, map it out. Let me get myself organised here. Map it out a little bit, and then I can settle into a little bit of stitching once I know what colour's going where, which is what I seem to do with you guys, is just plan my colour placement. I wasn't going to film a video today. I was sort of fiddling around with chores around the house and got a house guest coming to stay overnight. We're going to a luncheon / evening get together with a mutual friend. They've hired a beach house down the road a bit, so it's the next little town before you get to Harvey Bay, Tugum. So they've hired a house and they've invited us for lunch, and the gentleman, I'll just use his name because it's easier. So Gavin lives in my hometown, and his parents were very close friends to my parents. They're different generations, and Gavin's a generation above me. But Gavin's parents were tremendous support for my parents when they started their, I guess, married life together, and in that was starting a farm. So Dad was, I think, 16 when he got his first farm, and then at 19, 20, something like that, he'd married my mum, and they sold that original farm and bought the one that I grew up on. And Gavin's parents, Gavin wasn't around at that stage, Gavin's parents were a tremendous support. So, for example, if Dad grew a crop of something and didn't have the harvester, say it was hay, and didn't have the baler, because he was only young, he was still building his assets, many of the local farmers would support the young ones who were in the community, and that's sort of how we got to know Gavin's parents. They were also part of our church, so they were just, in our lives. And long story short, well, it will always still be a long story because I keep thinking of side notes, they sort of became pseudo-grandparents, I guess, not only to me and my brother, but for my father and mother, they were sort of like parents. They're at least a generation and a half older. They've now passed. And Gavin, now he was the son. There was a sister as well. She unfortunately passed too young. But Gavin, he is still in the district. He has inherited the family farm, and he himself is a stockman, and he has properties all over southeast Queensland, Beaudesert, Mount Tamborine, there you go, Brisbane people, and around the Gomerri district, those of which he leases and moves his cattle accordingly to whatever stage of life his cattle are. So he's a stockman, and he and I have a mutual friend who is having a little holiday up in our region. So I reached out to Gavin and said, hey, do you want to come across, camp overnight? We'll go and see our mate, have lunch, a long lunch with her. I noticed in the photos of the house that she's hired, she has a fire pit. So when Gavin gets here, he's on his way here now, and lunch is later today. I'm going to suggest to Gavin that maybe we take some firewood, and there's still a bit of a nippy breeze in the air. And I noticed the backyard is very treed. The beach is just the same beach that I have, but they're south of me. The beach is just through the trees. And she's brought her puppy dogs up, and they're going to have a ball running on the beach every day. I think I had that bit cut off. So we could probably light a fire and have it going all day because of the shady trees and the coolness of the air. I think it'd be lovely. Actually, I should ask her, send her a message to see if she needs some camp chairs, and maybe the house she's rented has all those things thought out. I don't know. Just going to put a couple more stitches here. That's swinging in the air. So, yeah, so Gavin's on his way across. He'll be here about 10:30. It's about 8:30 now for me. So I've been fiddling around doing chores and just tidying up, and Gaz has arrived back with a load of furniture from our house. It's sort of the last load that we can handle. We now sort of need the removalist to take the rest. So I've just been shoving all that somewhere. Just haven't quite settled into the house yet. And every time a new load of stuff arrives, it's like, oh my goodness, I've got too much stuff. I've gone from a fairly large house to a smaller house, and oh. But you know how it is. You look at a vase or a lamp and you go, oh, but I like it, but I've got nowhere to put it. So, yeah, I'm just going to let it all sit around me for 6 months and then see if it annoys me, and then it'll be, move it on. So, yeah, all of that's going on in amongst it. So, yeah, I was just fiddling around, and I've been working really hard on putting the kits together for the retreat ladies that are coming to see me in October, or I'm going to them. So I haven't filmed for a few days, and I'm patiently waiting for the next Roxy prompt, so that'll be a heap of filming. So, yeah, I thought, I better do some work on winter. Friday, there's no video. So whether it gets bumped a week. So if it gets bumped a week, you'll be watching this in August. If it falls into where it is, you'll be watching it in July. So who knows? I just film videos and then just move them on my calendar to suit other projects. So it's a bit all over the place. So yeah, that's what we're waiting for today. A bit of a party. Be great. And that our friends, our mutual friend, she has 2 Australian Shepherds. They both look like Bandit. No, sorry, I got that wrong. She's got one that looks like Bandit and one that looks like Pepper. And the Bruce, he's actually the brother to Bandit. They came from the same litter. That's how we sort of met. I saw a Facebook picture go up of this little red pup, and I'm like, gee, that's coincidental. That's around the time I got my boy. And I reached out to her, and she said, yeah, I have a pup, and I had the brother, and we've just become mates. She's actually a vet for a huge company in Brisbane. More into the surgery side of things. She always jokes that would rather deal with animals than humans, so she's behind the scenes as more of a surgeon than, consulting with people. She said she's not a fan of talking to people. She'd rather be on the front line of emergency and, helping animals. So, I'm really looking forward to it. She's had the place booked for some time because she's a Brisbane lady, and her flatmate's with as well. So, it's going to be so good just to chat to different people. You chat to your inner circle all the time. So when someone new comes, I find it really, stimulating, as you can imagine. Miss Chatterbox here. So really looking forward to it. And I haven't had a chat to Gavin for probably 12 months. We talk occasionally on the phone. So, Gavin is, he'd probably be about 15 years older than me. He's probably closer generation to Gaz. But when I was young and in primary school, and Gavin was a young man starting his career, and he also wanted to be a farmer. He worked for a couple years on and off for my parents as a farmhand, and I was probably, maybe grade 5. Wouldn't have been much older, so I was only little. And Gavin would have been, probably in his 20s. So, he was around for a few years, and he probably was finishing grade 11 and 12. I don't know how all those timelines work now. I was too little. And I just remember he was super cool, the big brother for myself and my little brother. So, we had a lot of fun. He was a good dude. And then he went off and studied agriculture, I think, at Gatton. And he has since set up a stud farm of Brangus cattle. They're very, very black-looking cows. And he's done really well for himself. Well, he doesn't think, he just seems to think he works so hard and just keeps everyone fed, he says. But he's done well. He's very modest. He's a very, very gentle, modest man. He's good to hang out with. So, yeah, it'd be nice to sit around with everyone. And my mates from Harvey Bay, they're coming as well. So there'll be a few of us. And the beautiful thing is our friends from Brisbane, they're very good cooks. So it is going to be lush, guys. We're not allowed to bring anything. We've just got to come with empty tummies, apparently. I'm just going to leave it at that because that's different again. And I think I want to make a feature of that, which will follow into that. I think next thing is to pick that pale colour. So if you're new to thread painting, make it easy on yourself and pick a fabric that has the colours you love. You might want to go slightly different on the shades, which you'll find you'll do once you build your confidence a little bit. But it's a great way to learn techniques for filling in your image. Is have a beautiful piece of fabric that you just stitch into. And then when you become a little braver, you can pick any fabrics because you're now looking at the shape. And then mush them together with some tacking stitch and then go for it. Then you decide what colours you'd like the piece to be. Throw a heap of threads into a basket and away you go. And now you're sort of more in the vein of the artists, for example, like Fleur Woods. There's a few around that do that. So the imagery that they're working with is just random shapes on fabrics. And then if they need something additional to complement what they've picked, they'll sketch in more shapes. So that's when you start drawing in your own flowers. So that's next level. So it's a real journey, thread painting. You can make it as simple or as simple and safe as you want it, or adventurous as you want it. And I think too, when you start getting into the adventurous things, you don't have to make the flower look like the flower it might be. So roses can morph into anything, really. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very freeing, I find. Pieces like this, I just relax and just stitch because I don't have to think too much. Other than colour choice, I'm just painting it with thread. Really simple. But when I pick up my Fleur Woods piece, that's next level because I really push myself, and often I've unpicked because it just doesn't look complementary to the piece, where the designer here has figured all that out for me. So that's what I would say is the difference in the thread painting. And then if you really want to, you know, push your boundaries, start sketching in additional flowers that are your design into your piece. There's a lot of fun to be had with it, guys. If you haven't tried, give it a go. Just find a little piece of fabric that has some flowers on it that catch your eye. Pop a piece of wadding on the back because you need a little bit of thickness. You're doing such intense stitching that you don't want the fabric to be all puckered. I like to quickly work out if there's going to be a background like this, get it stitched in. So then the piece is one. Would be another tip. So this little flower has got all of this pale blue stitching at the top of it. So the sun is dancing off the top of that. How are we going for time? Gosh, 20 minutes goes so quick. Oh, I just pulled my thread out. If you want to save thread, where I've gone down with that needle, come up next to it. So therefore the thread at the back here is only just a tiny little bit. But if you're not too worried. You can come back up at the bottom and you pretty much got a heap of thread at the back of your work, but it's up to you. Sometimes I'm a bit of both. All right, I might let this thread be for a bit because I want to get on to some other colours. We'll be here all day. So working into the bottom there, what have we got? Khaki, I think that might be, so it's nearly like a seed pod, isn't it? You know, a hard seed pod holding the little flowers. That's what I see. I need to stitch little bird too. Little bird I will do in DMC thread because then I can split it down. Stranded cotton is what I'm talking about. Then I can split it down to 1 or 2 threads to do him. So it'll be a lot finer. Okay, so let's sneak up to this side. It's not really the colour, but I think it'll work still. We want that seed pod look. The little bird too, I've been thinking about him. I'm going to start with just doing all the chocolate, get it all stitched. Then I'll see what he looks like from there. Whether I come back through with that turquoise colour for his tail and the cream for his chest. I just don't know. I'm a bit concerned that I'll lose the detail of the bird, but time will tell. Yeah, this will work beautifully. I might end up coming back over these brown little stitches that I'm doing here now with another greeny, how do I describe it to you? I sort of, you know what I could do within my threads, that one would get me out of trouble, is like a khaki range of colours. I just don't seem to have that. And when you're stitching nature, sometimes you need those olives and khaki tones. Oh, it's come unthreaded. I just heard my phone ping, so I'm guessing my mate is on the road. He said, oh, see, I've picked up the blue. Oh, my goodness. That could have been a... Actually, I might throw a couple of those pale. Goodness me. Where is the thread? Is it going to work? I've got a mess here. So I've ditched the brown. I picked this one up by mistake, but what I'm going to do is stitch a few pale stitches into that darker, just to show a little bit of light coming between. Yeah, that's better. So my homework, I've stitched all the leaves. I haven't stitched that yet. I might pick some colours for that. Because I guess if our evening finishes before dark, we'll be all back here, probably watching a movie or something tonight. So to have something I can stitch while we catch up with Gav. I'm going to get that piece out of the way because I picked it up by mistake. So let's just let you sit there till I'm ready for you. Let's get this khaki one. A couple more stitches, then we'll move on to something else. I'm stitching it upside down purely because there's less fabric in my way here where my hand is moving. If you're wondering why she turned to work, it's just convenience of thread catching, and all of that down there is just bulk. So that's why I'm looking for the easiest path in for my hands. Keeps coming unthreaded because I've got such a big hole in that crewel needle. Okay. Couple more stitches. I will come back through with that darker thread, so I might make it a bit gappy now, and then the darker thread will fill in. Okay, that might do. I think we got the general plan there. So then I'll just bring you up here to be out of my way. And I'm going to grab this khaki. It is a stranded cotton, but I'm going to leave it at 6 so that it holds its own with that crocheting cotton, which would be, oh, it's not crocheting, well, it is crocheting cotton, but it's pearl cotton, and that would be a number 8. I've been working with a number 5 on my Christmas panel for the retreat girls, and it's so thick, completely different again. Before I get too carried away here, I'm just going to scoot back through all of these stitches and just drop in a little bit of this colour. Oh, I need a thimble. Things are getting tender again. Time to wear some protective. Thread painting is hard on your fingers because you're going through so many layers of stitches and fabrics. I can hear Fudgy's outside. He's lying on the driveway in the sun. He's developed quite a routine, that boy. Gets very meow-meowy after breakfast. And walks up the hallway to the garage door. He's got it all figured out now. So I've got to open the garage door just a half a foot or so that he can meander out to the sun and just roll around on the driveway. Well, he's sort of near the front door. He's nowhere near the street or anything. Just absorbing the rays. And then he comes in and has a drink of water and crawls back into bed. And then we don't see him till probably as soon as the kitchen starts clanging and bashing, that's when he seems to appear. Now, that looks like it's that flower, and now I'm heading, so I'm going to do a pale stitches in there to define the two have separated. And I'm going to come down to the bottom of that pod and stitch into that at the base. I'd angle my stitches to sort of fan out a little bit there. To give the impression that there's quite a heavy little we had a full moon here the last night. Gosh, it was stunning. Come up over the lake and the reflection was in the lake. Just beautiful. But the last few nights, Pepper and Bandit have been so active. So I don't know if it's because they can see more or there's a lot of animals that are out, like kangaroos and dingoes and foxes and bunnies. I'm not sure, but they were definitely a lot more woofy the last few days. It's just like it's daylight out there. It's so beautiful. I went to put some rubbish in the bin, which is being collected today, and I swear it was like street lamps were on everywhere. It was so bright. Well, there was a street lamp on, but you know what I mean. I was throwing a shadow. That's how bright the moon was. It was just beautiful. So whether that means more animals are out fossicking for food because you can easily see, I don't know. I'm sure there's a science behind it all, but I know Pepper and Brandit were very stirred up. So I'm just coming along this outer edge with this khaki. The challenge with stranded cotton and using the 6 strands is it very quickly becomes, I don't know, loose. So just take your time with it. You might need to stop and just make sure everything is nice so it lays flat. Otherwise you'll have standing up. I think I've only got 1 stitch left. You'll have standing up threads. Let's sneak one more. Probably the trick to it would be to use smaller lengths, and then you're not getting yourself a bit tangled. This is for the newbies that are finding all this business for the first time. Could you imagine? Oh, the adventure. Gosh. Having never stitched, imagine finding this world we're all in. Oh my goodness. I'd be beside myself. The excitement. So I don't need that. So we've used those so far. That'll be for the bird. We need him. Now, let's have a look at these flowers. They're really mustardy. Do we want to maintain that? It is pretty, and it does sing. It does sing the colours. Is that too mustard? Yes, it is too mustard. Just looking around my desk here to see if there's something that jumps out at me. I don't think there is. I'm just going to grab my threads, guys, because I thought I might have had something. Oh, what about ribbon? Oh, yep, here we go. Look. Oh, yeah. We could put a little bit of that through. Have I got any scrappy bits? I like the thickness of that, guys. So there's a thin one. Got to do thick or thin. See, then I can play with that. Might just put that to one side. Let's have a play with some ribbon. Haven't used my ribbons for a little bit. See, maybe I could bring ribbon into the centre of him. Yeah, let's have a look back in there. Oh, just pull them all out. Oh my goodness, I did an order with Colour Stream a little while back. Sort of think I need that tone. See, it's a little pinkier. I might leave him out. What are you? Cotswold Stone. That is cheap one here. I might bring that out because that's just from Lincraft. Oh, ribbons, you beautiful, beautiful things. Need to do a project with pink. It's falling out at me. There's even a little bit of that. Maybe I put a bit of ribbon on Birdie. All right. So bird's nest can stay. Just going to clear my little container here. And remember, I've got the little flowers I made right at the very beginning, they're going to come in through here to add a little bit of 3-dimension. I did have an extra one, but I blooming pinched it for another project. But that's okay. So they're hanging around as well. Those I'll need. So let's have a look. See, it's very orange, isn't it? Oh, I just don't know, guys. It's like bringing in something. I'd have to work it in elsewhere. No, I don't think I can do it. I've rejected it. Maybe I use just the cream. See, they get a bit lost. Okay. Change of plans. Threads. I think we'll save the ribbons for in here. And I'll look for a thread for up there. Don't mind that. Like, that's safe. I might keep him out. I sort of feel like I've been looking at the same threads for weeks, so it doesn't hurt to ditch all your threads. Like, that's what we were using over here. Put them to one side and force yourself to go and select some new opportunities, because then it makes your piece, I guess, transition. That's why putting this in, I think, will help. It's just going to bring in that new pop of that turquoise. Still the same blues, but we've now got a different look. Let's have a little play with this. So we've got browns in the centre, which I think I'll maintain, but we'll see. So stitch the centre, come back down to the bottom, fan out a little bit, slowly angling. These will be easy to do. To now onto the side. Then work your way back and fill in your gaps. It might mean that you pass over that little petal a few times, but by doing this, you're getting that fanned look, because it's really hard to do your stitches all in a row fanning. You're better off doing one here, one here, one here, and then fill in the gaps. And if it's still not filled, come back through again. So that's pretty good. I could bring one more stitch in here, and that would really make it filled in. So that's that side done. So then I come up the top here again, down to the bottom, and then I'm going to jump along a little bit. Oh, lost my thread. Once again, needle too thick, needle too big. So moving along that edge a little bit, back into the centre. And there, back into the centre. Would have been pretty with ribbon. And down to the side, back down there, and then it's just a case of, do I need another one? I think I need another 2. So let's jump up here, back into the centre. You get a beautiful shaped petal if you do that little trick. I hope that makes sense. There we go. So all the threads are lying beautifully. And it's really all about just do your centre, over a bit, come back through, and then go, well, do I need more or not? And I needed one more there, but two more there once I had done that pass. So that's going to work out well. I could do a French knot in the centre of them in the brown to give it a raised little edge. All right, I like that. So that little flower at the top there, I can stitch him. He's got a bit of light to him. Let's just, what is this? Nothing written on it. Pop that in the pot. So I'm just going to the one at the top. Not sure what's going to happen along this edge. Decision for another day. So let's get that out of the way now. And I'm just going to, if I do some lazy daisies up there, what would that look like? Because they're really fine. And then I could come back and put a stitch in the centre of that lazy daisy to fill it in. Gives you a nice rounded, yeah, I like that. I'm probably putting the horse before the cart here because I haven't stitched those darker colours. But I should be able to slide my needle in and around these lazy daisies because technically you'd stitch all of the background. But being there's only a little bit there, I think I can pull it off. So I like that. That really gives it a petal look. Couple more, should have enough thread to pull it off. And this thread colour I haven't used yet, so that's good because then that'll freshen up my threads that I do down here. There's some seriously big stitching needed down there. I might even delve into my wools to make that feel a lot chunkier. I'm going to do 2 stitches in the centre of that one. One more. There we go. So I've got a bit of a plan now. So if I can get birdie done, this little flower, those flowers and that flower, that should be the top finished. Here we go. Excellent. That would also have been good in ribbon up there, but I didn't. I think maybe the ribbon we work into here. Save it for the chunkiness. I'll leave it on the little threads just to remind me that it's there. I pulled this one out too. It's like an alpaca wool, but I don't think I'm going to need it this time. I'll save that for the flowers. That might help to build up the bulk. Okay, well, I'm going to call it at that. That gives me plenty to stitch, and that'll be all done. Then I can come back in through here. Beautiful. This will need to be bulky because all of this to hold its own. Yeah, this needs to be thick. So I will say that a lot of my little threads will be changed out for wool. But we'll see. Wool and ribbon. That should get a bit of thickness to it. So I'll put my needle there, ready for the day. All right, guys. Scissors. I think I'm going to toddle off, and I can hear my phone pinging, so maybe Gavin's lost. I better go. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Bye.